Yo, chill computer guy. Today we're in Reason 10. We got the sun coming in the window there. It's a little chilly out though. It's late October, so we got Halloween here in a couple of days. I'm dressing up as a piano roll. No, I'm just kidding. I'm dressing up as a flanger on the master bus. Actually, I'm just gonna put a pumpkin on my head. Actually, I got a special button that goes on my jacket that says this is my Halloween costume. Anyway, chill computer guy here. We are going to talk about today where to start. And I've had a video on this in the past. I really think it's important to kind of build around something when you're starting a song. It's very easy to become overwhelmed and just start kind of putting shit everywhere and then like kind of like not knowing what to center your sound around or your song around rather. And what I've been doing recently is building around loops, in this case bass loops. I've been using a lot of bass loops. Splice.com, I'll have a link in the description below. Check out splice.com. But this just happens to be an electric bass loop. And you'll see in the description of the loop 86, that's the BPM, and then E minor. So these two things are very important. So we know that our tempo is going to be 86, and we know that we're going to make our song in E minor. Now, we do have these players where you can just select that on the player, but I am really into kind of building a scale and just doing it manually, because doing it manually, not only will you learn a lot, but you'll stumble upon stuff that you won't necessarily come up on by using a scale and chords player. The scale and chords player is actually pretty handy if you're kind of having some writer's block and you just want to throw in shit at the wall and see what sticks. So, it's a good device for that. Anyway, let's go ahead and we're going to solo this bass loop. This is what we got here. So that's basically what we're working with. Now, to start off with, a good idea is to take this audio and somehow reference it via Midi. And to do that, if you right-click, bounce, okay? Now, on the very bottom, you have bounce audio clip to Midi. If you do that, what it's going to do is it's going to analyze the audio from that clip, and it's going to give you a MIDI clip based on all kinds of things, everything from the velocity to the key and whatnot. So that's something I do right away. Once I find a loop that I want to build around, I bounce audio into Midi. Okay, I'm going to do that again real quick, and you can see that it gives me a MIDI clip here. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and delete that because, as you can see, I've already done it. Go ahead and delete that. And by default, this actually puts this in a subtractor, which is something that I wish I could kind of select, maybe in the preferences where I want these MIDI clips to go, because I would prefer this in like a piano or something where I could work with it a little bit easier. But what it does by default is it puts it in a subtractor, and that's fine. That's fine. The subtractor patch is Juicy. Very good subtractor patch. Let's see it right there. There it is, Juicy. We'll go ahead and unfold that so you can see it. There's our juicy patch, or juicer. Yeah, juicer. So it went ahead and put it in the juicer patch, and you can hear that patch. Which is a great kind of patch for like a gangster lead or something. Let's go ahead and just listen to that MIDI clip so you can kind of hear what this thing spit out. Now, when you first listen to this MIDI clip, you're like, I don't hear anything there. But when we combine it with the actual audio loop, you'll start to hear the dynamic between the two it practically creates a hook. So let's listen to it real quick by itself. Okay, so that's just the MIDI. Now both of them together, let's listen to that, and you'll see that it's kind of a give and take between the two. They're kind of tossing that thing back and forth, but it's a very unique thing you can build around. Let's listen to that. Put some drums in there. So you can kind of see that this note right here, pretty damn catchy. I'm going to go ahead and put this onto half a bar here. This note right here is pretty catchy. The way that this MIDI right here and this audio right here, the way that they harmonize is catchy. It's just plain catchy. Now, you didn't necessarily plan that, but what you did is you took an audio loop, you bounced it into MIDI, you played them together. Maybe you adjusted the volume of the two, but you found something that kind of just stuck out, something that grabbed your attention, and that's a powerful thing. Let's go ahead and listen to that again. Now you can see right here this drops down here. Now the great thing about bouncing to MIDI is this is not quantized. This is going to be straight up, and you can adjust these things. You can actually adjust these. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this out a little bit. I'm going to turn my snap off and use these MIDIs. Use this MIDI as kind of a reference. Now this is why I do wish that Propellerhead had the shadow editing or the layered editing, because it's a lot easier to do this with something like that. Let's just go ahead and extend that note and listen to what that sounds like. Now you can see there's another issue here with this note here. See, this is representing this long wave, this is representing here, and this right here might be a little bit early, because you can see that's coming in there. And so what you can do is you can just kind of move that over a little bit, just kind of move it over. And then again, you can kind of open and close that and see where it's at. That's a little bit closer to the actual audio wave. You can see the transient and the MIDI note should kind of start generally in the same spot here. So going back to our MIDI loop, you can see that it's an E minor. Okay, so this is very important. What you want to do is you want to build a scale, E minor. Now, how to do that? Like I say, you can use the chord, the scales and chords, but I really do believe that you're gonna learn a lot, and you're gonna find things by laying out the scale and then really experimenting with it. So let's go ahead and create. We got the Atlantic Records stereo upright, the radical piano. Let's go ahead and double click there, and in order to get out a minor scale, what you want to do is you want to start with an A key, which is right here. Okay, make sure your snap is on. You're going to start with an A. Okay, there's an A. We're going to go to quarter notes here. You can see up top, this is going to tell you that it's at an A. And what you want to do is you want to duplicate this note, and you want to skip the sharps and flats. You want no sharps and flats. In other words, all the white keys, none of the black keys, and then that's going to put you back on A again. Okay. And what you want to do is you want to take them all but the A and shorten them down a little bit. Okay, and then we're going to go A again right here, right? So you can take that, duplicate that up by lassoing and then alt dragging these up. And there's kind of a 3-octave scale right there. Okay, so what you've done is you've basically laid out the scale. But this is an A minor. What you want is E minor. So what you want to do is lasso these all and then drop them down or up, whatever you want to do there. So that's E2, and you know, because we did the A, we started at A and no sharps and flats, that put us automatically into a minor scale. So right now, this is an E minor scale, okay, and that matches this E minor bass loop. So now what we've done is this is kind of a template for the rest of the song, and this is way too high of an octave here. We want like an E1. Now you can't really shift an arrow down. I don't know if there's a way to jump these an octave. I don't know. Maybe there is a shortcut. If there is, please leave it in the comments below if there's a shortcut. You know how in Ableton and most DAWs, if you hold shift arrow up, it moves the note up an octave. In a Propellerhead, the best way to do that is just to lasso them all and to go up here and type it in. Which I love the fact you can type in values here. I actually wish you could type in values everywhere in Propellerhead Reason. That would be great. Alright, so now that you've got this thing, this is going to be kind of our template. What we're going to do is we're going to move this around. Now you can take this and you can make it like a bright red or something. And that way you know this is your template. This is what you're working off of. In other words, you want to put this down here, and you can put it down there. You can double click this, and now you can see that. Yeah, let's go down another octave. So now you can see, based on the shadow, you can see the shadow of these notes. You can see all of them line up with our scale, so you know that all these notes are correct. You know you don't need to move those notes. But what's handy about this is you can bring this down to, like, let's say the 0 here, which is a VST here, and we're going to quickly build something, okay, based on this scale. Again, if you double click, you can see that at the end you have your scale, so you can kind of see a shadow. So basically, you can kind of get at, as far as laying down ideas, if you stay within the framework of a scale, you're not just flailing around. You're more or less keeping with what's going on. Now let's go ahead and move this into the Arpeggiator lane and see what kind of different sound it gives us. So anyway, very, very important to decide a key, especially a key. The BPM is a little bit more flexible, but definitely try to decide on a key, what key your song's going to be in right away. That way it kind of gives you an idea of what to focus on. And it's just really important, in my opinion. How to decide that key could be the lowest note in your bass line is a good way to do it. But I highly recommend, rather than just kind of throwing notes all over the place, decide on a key right away. And then that way you can kind of build around it. Not only that, decide on a BPM as well. That's also a good one. BPM and a key, those are essential. I always put those two values in my description when I do save a track. That way I know what I'm coming back to. And then lay it out. Lay it out. Don't use scale and chords. You can use scale and chords. I'm not telling you not to use scale and chords, but you're going to learn so much more by laying it out, and then using this as kind of a template where to put your notes. You'll know, you're on the first, the third, the fifth. You'll know where you're at, and that just makes it so much. It makes it even fun. It makes it a lot funner, and it's like you're building it, and you're learning music theory at the same time. So super important. So remember, if you want to be in a minor scale, just start your first note on A, and then no sharps and flats all the way up the keyboard, and that's going to automatically put you in a minor scale. And then you can control A, all that, and move that to whatever key you want your song in, minor. So in that case, we were in E minor. Now E minor I came up with because of the sample. The sample's E minor. So I went ahead and put all the notes into E minor, and then that gave me kind of something that I could gravitate around as far as building the rest of the song. So just a little tip there. Anyway, if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel, Chill Computer Guy. We'll see you guys again now.